I loved my Helix until it decided to retire early without telling me. It's part of the bigger story of why I've stopped playing the Helix, and I'll show you what I've been using instead. So quick context, I've been a Line 6 user for years, from the red kidney bean Pod XT to the X3 Live, then making the leap to the Helix in 2018. This unit is special to me because it's my wife's birthday present, so I'm really heartbroken that the unit has failed as spectacularly as it did. We're underneath my desk right now, so that's why I look like I'm in a crawl space. Let's turn it on. I can show you what's happening on the screen. That's one big problem. The screen is dying. It's got those lines of death that you see on really old, those phone screens. You can also see nothing's up on the scribble strips. Every single scribble strip, said it fast enough. Every single scribble strip is dead. Not only that, every button and knob isn't working, except the volume knob. Switches don't work either. But strangely enough, Tap Tempo does work, and if I long press it, the tuner does work too. I was advised that repairing it would be quite exorbitant, so I have decided to use this as a floor-based audio interface. I've repatched my rack so that all of my devices on the rack get sent to the Helix via the return inputs, and with that I can process the audio with a bit more compression, a bit more EQ if I need to. But quite importantly, this unit is still operational with HX Edit, so I can make presets on HX Edit. I just won't be able to check if the foot switch assignments are correct, or snapshots for that matter, because everything on the front panel is dead. So this has become an $1,800 floor-based USB interface. This Helix was my go-to rig for everything: live worship, recording, practice, even as a recording interface with some tone sweetening. But three big issues finally made me retire it for good. And if you're thinking of getting one, or even if you already own one, you might want to hear this. Reason number one, when it breaks, you're cooked. Before the Helix, I had a board with the Strymon timeline, and because I didn't have the budget for a good isolated power supply, I was running two adapters for the rig, the timeline having its own adapter and the rest of the rig running off a one spot. Guess what happened 10 minutes before the biggest worship concert I've played for, with a 200 strong choir on stage and 2,000 people in attendance? The adapter for the Strymon timeline died. But it wasn't a complete disaster. I just needed to rip out the timeline off the board and run the entire rig without delay, which was a bummer for me, but I don't think the congregation could tell the difference. That's the problem with all-in-one devices. When one part fails, the whole thing fails. With analog pedals, if one goes down, you just swap it out. With the Helix, when it goes, you lose everything. This was my first big red flag. I realized I put all my eggs in one basket, and the basket cracked. Reason number two, smaller pedal boards are just easier. I know a lot of players love the all-in-one convenience of the Helix, but for me, building a modular board just feels more flexible. As a side benefit, I get to enjoy the fun of experimenting with pedals again. And come on, who doesn't love new pedal day? This is Helix 2.0. It's pretty big, but let me explain what I'm doing right here. I've considered this an upgrade to my Helix because number one, it's got wireless, which I really love. I can't live without wireless anymore. And I have this going out to the volume pedal, which is then sending signal to the first HX stomp. And the reason why I want a pre-gain volume pedal is I'm just used to the sound of pre-gain volume pedal, and by the way, this was going for really cheap on Amazon, so I couldn't help myself. This HX Stomp has got effects, got a polycapo and some tone sweeteners. The main bulk of the amps and the drives are here on the second HX Stomps. And in the effects loop of this guy is this HX Stomp XL. I'm using it for dual amps, using it for the effects. And in this effects loop, which is also stereo, I am having the Strymon Big Sky MX. There's just no substitute for a good Strymon reverb. Expression pedal is connected and wired to this Helix Stomp XL when I need to control stuff like a wah pedal. I'll use this to control wah, as well as like delay mix, which I use this quite a lot to go from a light delay to a heavy delay. And this is connected to my main Helix Stomp, and this controls the pitch of the polycapo via snapshots. So I go in increments of -1, -2 semitones. And this is the Vengoa pedal board, which I featured a few weeks ago. I used it live at on TE Night, and I've kept several things the same. I've kept this the same, I've kept the drives the same, the compressor the same, and even this, wah volume pedal here. But two things I made: I inserted this Helix Stomp, which is going to be the control hub for the rest of the board. This, I've not really wired it yet. You can see it's empty here, but this is supposed to go from here to connect to the wah volume, which goes to the drop, which goes to the TC Electronic Plethora X5. In the loop of the X5 has my dry effects, the compressor, Morning Glory, the kilt, and this goes stereo out into the Helix Stomp. And I've got a MIDI cable right here so that I can tempo sync the Helix Stomp with the Plethora X5. I can change presets on the Stomp, and this will correspondingly change tempos to match those presets. But there you have it, two different Line 6 boards, one of which is quite permanent and the other is a revolving door of pedals. Reason number 3, the weight problem. Real talk, I love the Helix for its power and utility, but it's a beast. In a bad way. It's huge, it's heavy, and lugging it around isn't kind on the back. Even before the unit died, I didn't want to bring the Helix out if I could afford it. It was only when I needed to run tracks, manage cues and click, and automate my effects changes did I relent and choose the Helix. Otherwise, the smaller rigs win. In fact, I'm reaching for my pot goal much more frequently, and I've even done entire worship nights with just one Helix Stomp.
Champion your peace, whose hearts and hopes are beating as one, whose every kind decides that you've ordained to serve and to please, whose kind decides that you've ordained to serve and to please. They all bear witness to your son.
For gigging musicians, weight matters. It's one of those little quality of life things you don't think about at first, but over time, it becomes a huge deal, especially when you're approaching 40. So those are my 3 big reasons why I don't play my Helix anymore. If it breaks, you lose your whole rig. Smaller pedal boards give you way more flexibility, and the weight. My back just said no. Don't get me wrong, the Helix is still an amazing piece of gear. For the right player, it's perfect. But for me, it just stopped making sense. What does make sense? These guys who are much lighter and frankly much more fun to play with now that I'm back to collecting analog pedals. But that's me. What about you? Do you prefer the all-in-one convenience, or are you a modular pedal board person? Drop a comment below. I'd love to know how you're building your rig. And hey, if this video was helpful, give it a like so more guitarists see it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.